Hello, and thank you so much for tuning in to the She Can Ball podcast. I'm your host, Mahi Jariwala. Today, we're joined by Marcus Kirkland Jr., founder of Strive Above Others. You guys, Marcus does a little bit of everything from being a probation officer to training basketball to coaching AAU to running his own open runs. Marcus does it all. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for coming on, Marcus. I appreciate your time here.
No problem. I'm a fan. I've been watching you for a while, so
I know we've been trying to make this happen since like last year. I feel like even more than that, we've known each other for a while now. Um, Tell us about like the beginning of your basketball career. And I know you train and you coach AAU and everything, but like how did it all kind of start for you?
oh man, we're going back. So pretty much I'm from Sacramento, California. I went to Thomas High School. I graduated at 5'6" on a good day. I didn't play after high school the first 2 years. And then I went to Sierra College and I had a growth spurt. So I went from like 5'7" to about 6'2", 6'3". And it was a transition, like things were just different for me. Like I was okay in high school, but then like I was a different player. I became a different player. So then there's a thing called like open runs for colleges. And then I went to a few. I went to William Jessup and then Simpson. William Jessup's in Rockland, California, and
Yes.
Simpson's in Redding, California. So I went, I did really good, and they both offered, but I went with Simpson instead of going to Jessup because just Simpson offered more money. So unfortunately, I made that decision for more money. But oh well, we all make mistakes. Not playing.
When you talk about like how your game changed completely, was it just mainly from that height or like did that add a lot of confidence to you? Like what do you think changed from high
Oh,
school to college?
that's a good question. Both confidence, and then just different, just a whole completely different player, like just different from all categories.
Wow, and
So
so you wanted to stay local, huh? After.
yeah, close with my dad and my brother, so I didn't want to leave them,
Very
and
cool.
my
And what
mom,
was,
obviously.
yeah. What was your experience at Simpson then?
So Simpson's a small Christian school, and I
Yeah.
always wanted to go to a Christian school. I wanted to go to Christian Brothers going to high school, but I lived in a Thomas, it was too far of a commute. So I wanted to go to a Christian school, and William Jessup is a Christian school as well.
Yeah.
So I went there, and it was a great experience. I felt like I got closer to God, got mature. Played 4 years, and it was a fun. We played against UC Davis, Sac State, Chico State, Humboldt State, Boise State, and a few other schools. But it was great. I did bad my first year. My last three, I did good.
What was so bad? Was it just kind of adjusting that first year?
Yeah, just to the speed of it, and then the system we had, I didn't really like. But then we had a new coach, so from my sophomore to senior year, we my junior year probably was the best year because we won our league that year. But yeah, it was just coaching and the
Mm.
play styles.
And so right out of college, because you do a lot of like coaching and training, was that kind of always the goal? Like, what was that first step out of college into like getting into this world?
So I tore my meniscus my senior year, the start of my senior year, this summer. I was playing on it, and then the coaches were like, "Can you help coach?" And I was like, "Help coach." So then I was like helping coach. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Then I had a teammate say, "Can you train me?" So I was kind of shocked with that. So I started training him, and then I started doing like little camps and clinics
Oh, wow.
uh, on the weekends every Sunday, so I could have some money. Because when you become a college student, you don't have the money, so you got to make the money.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do, and then it kind of just transitioned right after. So once I got done, I just kept going.
Mhm.
So it was a smooth transition from the training aspect.
So strive above others, is that like your training, like brand? Like, what does that mean for you?
Yeah. So I was in the class. I was bored one day, but I was starting to train everything. So I was like, what should I name? I should have a name.
Yeah.
So I just put Strive. And then I was like, dang, and then above others. And I was like, oh, there we go. We're rocking with it. So yeah, I just kept going with it, Strive of Others. So that's just I guess some people call me that. It's my name at times, but it's my business and then it's my open runs. So it just smooth transition. I don't know, just something that naturally happened.
And so you do
Go
a
with the
lot of
flow.
stuff. You got training going. I saw you also like coach AAU. You run these open runs. Like, what is how do you do all this and like what does that look like? So is there certain times in the day where you train, where you do AAU? Like how do you schedule all of this?
Oh, good question. I kind of just follow what God leads me. So it's the weirdest thing. It just all happens naturally. So, like, a typical week, I go to work, I work 8 to 5, and then I'll probably train 6 to 8, and then I'll have my
Until you
open
work
run.
as well?
Yeah,
Wow, so what do you do 8 to 5?
probation officer.
Okay, okay, very cool.
Yeah, so then I do that, and then I go straight to training, and then at the end of training, I go to my open run, and I go home, spend time with the family.
Oh my goodness. That is
Yeah.
insane. And so when do you coach AAU or you like or do you not do that as much anymore?
I'm kind of falling back. I coached 3 programs: West Coast Havoc, um, Royals, and then FIBA. But I'm kind of done with the AAU stage.
Wow.
My open run right now is getting a lot of traction,
Hmm.
so I've got to focus on that.
I feel like a lot of trainers, and I don't know if it's like local in this area, but it's very like they train or and there's coaches that do AAU. Like there's not that many people I do both. Is there like a reason for that? Is there a reason why you kind of step into both of those roles?
Yeah, because what I was learning was if you coach, well, if you train somebody and you don't know what system they run, you could be trained on the wrong things. So I can have
Mm.
someone drilling 100 times is never going to dribble 100 times, right? So then I started to say, okay, I need to understand what, like, from a coaching standpoint, what they're looking for, and I wanted to learn systems and all that. So my favorite system I use offensively is a dribble drive, 1 forward, 1 out, four
Okay.
out, 1 in. Um, so once I started doing that, it kind of helped with my training because now terminologies you pick up, and then stuff like that. So that's why I wanted to learn both because it's going to help both sides. So then now, as I'm coaching somebody, if I'm training them too, I can look and be like, okay, that's what you need to work on. You're
Yeah.
not going with your left hand, whatever. So now we can work on that, right? So you kind of it goes hand in hand, and I feel like you learn so much.
Yeah, no, 100%. When you train like teams, for example, because I know that you like train teams specifically as well. So if a team comes to you, how do you kind of get ready to like train, let's say, a whole team?
Yeah, so I'll ask the coach. I say, okay, what offense do you run? And then he'll tell me, and I'll look it up if I don't know. But a lot of coaches run the same stuff nowadays. So if I don't know, I'll look it up and see. Then I'll kind of, okay, they're doing, just say dribble drive. They're doing dribble drive. So now we're going to have drills going this way, attacking downhill, exchange, whatever the case may be. So just talking to the coach and understanding. But if sometimes they'll say just they want their kid to work out. So if they want a good workout, then I'm able to put them into a good team workout.
Hmm. Gotcha. I know. I feel like systems just vary among programs, especially like at the high school level. Like, I think you definitely have teams that are very systematic, and that's kind of what they do. Modest, I feel like, was very like we just did our own thing, and it was funny because it's like if someone were to scout us, it's like, oh, like what plays are we running? Like they would probably be so confused because they're like, we're just doing whatever.
Well, yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I think for me, from a coaching standpoint, players need to know at least what to do sometimes, especially when the game gets close. Like if they're way better, then you're gonna get away with it. If it's a good team, now everybody needs to know who needs to get the ball, when, where, and how, right? So
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think that going in as a freshman, that was so hard because it's like you're trying to adjust to a system that like doesn't really exist. Like there's really no system that you're trying to adjust to. So it's definitely tough. So yeah, I think and funny enough, like I played AAU with Bay Area Blackhawks. They don't exist anymore, but they're that funny enough, like my AAU team was very systematic. And like high school was kind of like the opposite. But I definitely did prefer, I think, having a system. And I think it's easier as a player to know your role um, and where to go and like what to do, I think, a lot of the times, especially with AAU because you don't know the girls as well, what people are good or bad at. So it's like you really need something to like get
so
yourself
I
up.
got a question for you. Was AAU worth it looking back?
So I only played freshman sophomore year, like barely, and I didn't like do crazy travel because I knew I wasn't gonna. I didn't want to like get recruited or play like early on. I kind of figured that out. How have you kind of seen the AAU scene like switch? Because I feel like it's like changing a lot, especially now. Like, what does it look like now versus like when you kind of came into this game?
What it looks like now. So I would say you have a lot of entitled parents.
Oh yeah.
So when you have that can mess up a team dynamic because the parent wants their kid to become the next Steph Curry. And then when you play against Steph Curry and you see him in person and you realize he's different, ain't too many Steph Currys just walking around, ain't too many Kent Bazemore's walking around. So you start to understand that a lot of these parents are putting a lot of pressure on kids to succeed, which you mean you commend them because you want them to push their kid, but you got to be realistic at sometimes. So I think AAU sometimes falls away from the realistic things that should be happening, and then a lot of teams just put together good teams, and that's not going to be a reality in college. Well, you could be on a good team, but you're going to play another good team or another great team. So sometimes AAU you can be so dominant, but it can stop you from succeeding because you're so dominant at a young age. But then when you meet people that are in college, bigger, stronger, faster, how do you adapt? So that's what I'm saying. So I would say we got to get back to the fundamentals, and you don't got to play AAU every week to be a good basketball player.
Yeah, and I feel like most trainers are like they don't really agree with the whole like oh play 5 games a weekend. I can't train. I'm playing with my 7 AAU teams. I just like how do you develop? How do you grow if you're just constantly playing in all these different teams?
Yeah, and that's another thing too is your body can only take so much. So I'm a little older than you, but we say back in the day we used to be at the park, but really we was at the park for like an hour and then we would joke around for like an hour. So we wasn't really playing. Like these kids will play now 3 to 4 games in one day, 40-minute games, like crazy.
Yeah.
And you're seeing so many injuries happen with the people that played so much get to the NBA or pro level. So
Exactly. I think it also gets complicated when parents start coaching, right? Because that's adds a whole, I feel like opens a whole new can of worms in terms of youth sports when you got your dad coaching you.
yeah, yeah, I think you got to stay away from that too because it just caught, like you said, it's just more. Why is your kid playing all the time? Why is your kid this main factor? And then like videos, like if your kid's all over the video, it just becomes so much that you can't even keep up with.
Especially in the like realm of like girl sports, as we're trying to like get more girls to, especially with basketball, trying to get involved with like sports. It's tough when there's all this politics that's happening because I think it's harder for with getting more girls involved in like retention just because there's always politics and stuff that goes on. You hear about it in sports, but just because there's fewer girls teams than say a boys team, right? If a boy doesn't like a team, there's a lot of other options you have. But I think
Mhm.
it's just tougher because there's less girls that are playing, there's less teams that are available for you to play on.
But like I was telling you earlier, I just went to the Aces game Monday. Um, it was good to see. You see now the women's side is starting to come together. It was a sold out. I think 10 or 11,000 people were there. The crowd was crazy in Vegas, crazy. The players were high level. So I think it's starting to turn a little bit. I think the women are starting to come around.
How did it go? Who won?
Oh, the Aces won by at least 20. It was no,
Oh,
they started off, it was a good game at first.
okay.
But the Aces had too much firepower. They got Kelsey Plum, obviously she's
Okay.
phenomenal. AJ Wilson, right? That's her name.
Yes. Yes.
And make sure Alicia Clark, yeah, she's good too.
Yes. The aces are stacked. We went to the Wings versus the Lynx. And the Lynx are like number one in the conference. Like they won the Commissioner's Cup. So their record was 13-3. Wings are 3-13, and the Wings beat them. But yes, there's been a lot of strides, I think, in the women's game and a lot more interest that's coming from that, which is good.
How you feel about was it Caitlin Clark?
Oh, she's killing it. And I
Yeah.
feel like she's kind of like the Steph Curry of like women's basketball on the term that
Mm,
she's doing something that like people haven't seen before. Like what Steph did was super exciting because people hadn't seen people shoot the ball the way that he does. And people like, pulling up from the logo and stuff. Like we never saw that before. And I think that that's kind of the same thing that's going on with Caitlin Clark. And like the waves that she's making, I think come from that. And also just I mean, you see in interviews and stuff, she just, I think, has a lot of class in her personality. And she's someone that a lot of young girls and boys look up to.
yeah, for sure. I'm a fan. I like her. I think she's changed the game. But I still think AJ Wilson, that's right. AJ Wilson.
Yes.
she needs to get a little bit more credit for what she's doing. She was a hell of a player. Great footwork. Mid post game is good. So
Even Kelsey Plum, I mean, she's like, she goes crazy.
I like her energy. Her energy, and she makes things happen.
But I think that like hype just happens at different times. I mean, I've had these like when you talked to William Jessup, like Coach Tet was the first ever She Can Ball guest that we had, and we had a long
Oh,
conversation.
Coach Ted. That's
Yes,
my
Coach
guy.
Tet. So I did like a PGC camp there at William Jessup, and I saw that Coach Tet was coaching there, and we just had like a conversation, and like that was how She Can Ball kind of started because I was like, let's just get this going. But we had a conversation about how just the NBA has been around for so long, and how like the WNBA hasn't been around for that long, and how things just take time, and I think that like Caitlin Clark was that tipping point. I think it was all women's sports were, getting a lot of hype, I think sort of slowly. And I think Caitlin Clark really put it over the edge. And especially those viewing numbers, I think just went crazy for college, especially. I think we're going to see those same things for the WNBA as people follow those college players.
And the Angela Reese, that's her name. Angel, is it? Yeah, she did her thing too. I think them together kind of trickled once they came to the WNBA. I think all eyes were on the WNBA.
Exactly. And that's why I think that it's just because I think there's a lot of hype with women's college basketball. And I think that as those players start to trickle into the WNBA, that, people want to follow them as well, which is very cool. Yeah. Speaking of Steph, I know that you organized that like whole clinic. How did that happen?
Well, this guy named Ken Bazemore helped me. He can't guard me at all, by the way. If he's watching this or listening, I kill Ken Bazemore every time. No, I'm just playing. So no, me and Baze, I knew Baze for about 2 years.
Yeah.
We became good friends, and then I met Steph a few times, and yeah, just got the word that he was in town and wanted to hoop. So he came. It was probably one of the coolest experiences I ever put together for Folsom, California. I actually once I got the word that he was coming, I told like a few of the kids' parents that I trained, like, "Hey, we got training on this day." So when they came, they were all kind of confused. They were sitting down like, I thought we were training. But I made sure I had the parents sit down. I brought my dad and a few of my coworkers from work for security purposes,
Smart.
just to make sure. And then I work at Lifetime in Folsom, so we kind of shut down the gym. But we had to open at first until he came. But the whole time I was nervous because I told two or three people, and just like, dang, I hope he comes. Like, what if he doesn't come? Then what I mean?
Yeah.
But him and Bays are close. So once Bays gave me the word, I knew that he was going to come for sure. So I had everybody get there. So he was supposed to come 6 to 8. I had everybody get there at 5. So we're playing, and I wanted to make sure the guys that I brought got a good game in, just in case he didn't come. Good games, not just games. So we
Yeah.
played, I think, 2 or 3 games, and then all of a sudden you hear like everybody in the gym kind of get quiet or kind of be like, hey, hey. So I knew he was there, and then once he came, the whole energy changed. Like, because we play with each other a lot, and I think sometimes when you play against your friends, it kind of gets repetitive. So you got to see some new faces. So what better way to have a new face in there? So as soon as he comes in, it was him and Bays. I put them on the same team because I wanted to beat them,
Did
and
you?
it didn't go well. But it was fun though. So the first game they won, then I got on the second game, and you could just tell like now at this point, going to second game, there's a lot of people coming in, people pulling out their cameras, and then they Steph hit a game winner on me. And I
Oh,
was like, dang. So then the third game, they won again. Fourth game, I get back on and I start talking. We get up, I think 5-0 or 6-0 early. It was something crazy.
oh
We
no.
jump on them early. But then Ken Bazemore started doing his thing. Then Steph started hitting the shots.
So were you
And
guarding Steph?
so then it was I laid in to tie it up 7-7, and
Okay.
every game was to 9. As for some reason, as soon as I laid in, Steph gets the ball. So I picked him up full court. And like I said, I brought some of my players there. So all I heard was, Coach Marcus, get him. At that moment, I knew it was bad. And then my dad and my one of my close friends, Caleb, they were like, "Oh, this is what you was talking about. Let's see." Because before he came, I was in the car, like I'm locking him up.
Oh my
So
God.
Steph looks at me, clears out, and then he misses. So I was like, "Oh, I did what?"
That's the
And then when he
defense.
missed, yeah, right. He hit the back iron though, so he missed. And then my brother got the rebound. And my brother, if you ever play with him, he don't pass the ball.
Oh
But since he's on Steph Curry's team, he want to pass today.
God.
So Steph fake left and went right. So I went left, and then he was right, and then he hit the game winner and did a little thing. And
Mm.
then one of the moms, the kids, Easton's mom, her name is Jessica. She posted it, and it went viral. So from there, it was we had New York Times, SAC-B, LA Times, everybody was talking about it. The radio, Gilbert Arenas talked about it on his show. Sports Center talked about it. It was just it went
Wow.
viral.
Yeah. And I
So
think it's cool because those moments where, these big things happen, obviously it's like, oh, like a cool moment. It's like, oh, something got lucky, but you've been working on your craft, building these relationships and stuff. Like those final moments and like those big moments like come from a lot of work that's like being put in. Like you make it sound
okay,
really easy, but I can tell there's a lot that goes into that.
yeah. So I've been doing so. Go back to the runs. I've been doing runs my whole life basically. Since I was like 8 years old. I lived in the Thomas, and what would happen would I had a thing where I would have the whole neighborhood come in front of my house, and we would have one court on one side, and on the other street, we would roll over another court. So I got in trouble a few times because I had like 50 kids at the front of the house. So my dad would be like, "Okay, this is too much," and then we would play all the way until the lights turned on, and then we'd have to go inside. But it went from 50 to now 100. So
Mhm.
now there's 100 kids outside, and lines all messed up. So my dad was like, "Okay, you guys got to go to the park down the street." So that happened in like 2000. Oh, I'm getting old. 2005.
Wow.
No, 2003, 2002. All the way. Yeah, I've been doing it for a while. So then I would always do it. So every summer I come back from college, or even in every summer since high school, we would go play at Cal Fit. And then I played with James Johnson at Cal Fit one time. He played for the Raptors, the Heat. I played with Jason Thompson. He played for the Kings.
Mhm.
So like Cal Fit was like the base, and then there was a few people that few NFL players played. Vince Mailey, he played. Savante, like Natomas, we had a few little athletes there. So then like time goes on, COVID happens.
Mhm.
Uh, Probably shouldn't say this, but I didn't stop because I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be, and I was gaining weight. So we were able to play at courtside. Courtside just shut down. I don't know if you ever played there in Rockland.
Oh yeah.
So I knew the director, so he let me in. But
Wow.
but then we were on the news. I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but it was actually they were on the news. I wasn't on the news, but they were basically saying, was it okay during that time to be
Mhm.
playing while COVID? But I made sure everybody had hand sanitizer, washing their hands. But I knew I had a movement from there because they had how many courts at a time? One, two, three, four, five. They had about five or
Oh,
six courts.
big,
I
yeah.
packed it out. I packed the whole thing out, and then I had 20 people waiting at the end. Because mind you, everything shut down, right?
Yeah.
So American director was like, "Hey, we can't video no more, because now we in trouble." So
Yeah.
we had to stop videoing for a second, probably like 2 or 3 weeks, because at this point COVID is all over. I'm doing my hand sanitizer. We're all trying to be healthy
And
and
so
stuff.
who video records all of this? Do you have like friends and stuff that run?
Oh yes, so we have one real shot, Napoleon, and then we have Eric.
Okay.
Then we have Calais. She does the pictures.
Wow.
So yeah, got them three, and then I run my own social media. But yeah, they do all the videos, and Five Idea, they just listen.
Wow. So then I bet after COVID ended, then you probably were able to get, your stuff going, I feel like to a bigger scale then, huh?
Yeah, I just build relationships. I think that's key. Jordan Ford has came to my open run. Jalen Wells just got drafted. He came. Ben McLemore, Ken Bazemore, uh, Steph, obviously. Coleman, he just signed to Kansas State NIL deal,
Oh, wow.
$2 million NIL deal. So to me, he's a pro, if you ask me. So guys just come now. It's just naturally just happening. But I think Ken Bazemore helped out a lot because once he came and then everybody else tried to not try, everybody now wants to come play. So now it's trying to just manage everything. It's unfortunate. You're not gonna make everybody happy, but you want to bring high level now because it went from like first open runs were like, okay, you could all come, but now it's like selective. Now you can't
Mhm.
because you can't have Steph Curry guarding, I don't know, the dude that works full time, like they were saying on social media.
Yeah.
So
But no, exactly. Like, you've had this whole, open runs that you've been running for all these years and it kind of works out. Because I feel like it was very similar. So I got to interview Steph. It's almost been a year now, because his movie was coming out and I like got in contact with
yeah,
the press team and whatnot. And obviously, like that was a whole process last summer. I was like, I really want to do this. And I've been wanting to interview Steph literally since I started the podcast and since I got involved with everything, because he's the reason I played basketball and why I wanted to share people's stories. Because his story to being, underrated in high school and in college and stuff to like being the greatest shooter of all times. It gave me so much hope, as a little fourth grade basketball player. And so, I started I mean, I had been reaching out to people all of these years, but I think when I saw his movie was coming out and I was working with PBS NewsHour Student Reporting Labs, I knew that name would help me. And so that process went on and it kind of worked out. But like obviously like that outreach process and everything helped me, but it was like all the work that I had been putting in for those years, I think that like kind of led up to that moment, similar to what your run looked like.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, for sure. Got to keep grinding. That's all. Just keep grinding, keep pushing.
Yes,
Yeah. So
100%. Last question for you. What advice do you have for young girls and boys that are looking to pursue basketball at a high level?
have fun. So no matter what happens, have fun. Like you're gonna be playing club, go have fun. Don't take it too serious because you only get it one time, and when it's over, it's over.
Yeah.
So just have fun. Don't take it too serious. Don't take what a coach says to you personal because it never should be personal, at least. Just enjoy the game and have fun. So that's what I do now is have fun. That's why I think everybody likes to run so much because it's a fun environment. I might talk mess here and there and say you can't guard me, but it's kind of factual if you ask me. But yeah, just have fun. Just go have fun, enjoy life, and have a second plan for life just in case because basketball is going to end at some point, right? For everybody.
True.
Just have fun. That's the main thing. Have fun. Yeah, that's all I would say.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Marcus. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for interviewing. Keep doing a great job. I'm a fan. I've been watching for a while.
Thank you.